Happy day. Happy, joy. I'm so grateful to be here. I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful to be alive. I know, man, and sometimes it's hard. Being alive is hard. Right? Sometimes being human is hard. Isn't that crazy? Like, we're looking, all of society, all of science, all of the pharmaceutical industry is looking for a pill that's going to make it easier to be human. That's what everybody's looking for. I just want something that's going to make it easier to go through this human experience. And you know what? There is no magic pill. There is no magic pill. We can think maybe the metaverse is the magic pill, right? The Matrix. Man, we're just heading towards the Matrix. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining. It's so good to see you all. Welcome. So I'm really excited about this topic. Hopeless, right? Like, do you feel hopeless? Sometimes I was talking to a friend. This came up because a friend of mine was sharing, about, he's a university professor, and he said, I usually teach these classes in this particular way, and I give, there's this much time for this and this much time, and at the end, the students have a time. It's a university professor. The students have time to do this analysis, and everybody's giving perfect answers, and he goes, it's AI. But he's working with it in a different way that, now it's not about the answer. It's about some sort of framing these together. He's trying to figure out a way that we cannot disparage it, but work with it. And but when he told me that there are now, completely AI written books. And I think about Hollywood writers striking still, right? We get AI written scripts. And just it kind of all of a sudden I was hopeless for a minute. I was hopeless. And I thought, man, I'm a spiritual practitioner. I know the truth. And not even AI, nothing outside of God. And artificial or not, there is a supreme intelligence that's greater than all of this. And that's what I know to be the truth. There's an infinite intelligence, an infinite consciousness that knows no limit, that knows no opposition, that knows no boundary. And this infinite intelligence is operating in, through, and as everything. And it's operating in, through, and as you and me. And so I just sort of rested in that. And as I rested in that, hey, everybody, welcome. As I rested in that, I realized that the IG live is super noisy. Oh, okay. Wow. Thank you so much for saying that. I bet it's because it was right on the computer. Now I know not to do that. Okay. Maybe I'll set it down here. Is that a little better? Thank you so much for saying that. Gabriel, thank you. Is that better? All right. So now you guys got a different view. Sorry. Okay. So IG world, you're going to be seeing me like Abraham Lincoln sitting at the Lincoln Monument. So I remembered this. That I read a book in college called Of Grammatology by Gregory Olm. And we were studying, like deconstruction, literary theory, and criticism and stuff like that. It was pretty cool. And what Gregory Olm was saying was that at every instance, human technology changed humanity, and that in the change, we lost something and we gained something, and that at each change, the vanguard of artists, writers, thinkers, thought leaders, philosophers came up with new forms that met the technology. So let's go all the way back to us being an oral culture. And Plato hated writing. Plato disparaged writing. It was a technology that was going to ruin everything, he said, because it kept us from being present. And for Plato, it was all about the dialectic. It was all about, I'm going to fix this over here. It was all about the dialectic. It was all about being present and being able to ask each other questions. So for Plato, the dialectic was more important, and writing destroyed us being present. These black squiggly lines on white pieces of paper, right? So that changed. And what did we lose? What did we lose with that technology? We used to be able to remember the Iliad and the Odyssey from memory. We had huge memories, and we lost that ability. We lost the presentness of communication, Plato said, with the technology of writing. And then it took a long time. But at that time, Now, all of a sudden, there were books and plays being written that didn't exist before. And so the artists and the philosophers had new ways. Plato disparaged writing, but he was writing. So, there's that. And then we get to the Gutenberg printing press. And at the Gutenberg printing press, there was another shift in technology. There was another huge change in technology. And what happened at that time? People were despairing because all of a sudden all this information could get out and anyone could have the information. It was going to change everything. People were the people holding the knowledge were afraid that now everybody could find stuff out. But what happened with the Gutenberg printing press? Newspapers, pamphlets, essays. The essay didn't exist. The novel didn't exist. The treatise didn't exist. New forms were developed at that time, and we lost something and we gained something. And the people at the vanguard were able to bring something new to the technology. And then we come for a long time, and then there's all these technological advances with the telephone and TV, new forms being created, and then the internet and smartphones, and that's getting faster, right? It was like a long time, and then there was the telegraph, and then the radio, and then the TV, and then the smartphone, and then boom, 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 and now we have AI. So none of these things were good or bad. All of these technological advances changed us mentally. We no longer can remember stuff like we did. Now, with books, we needed to know, we had to carry a lot of information within us and keep our own little library. Now we just need to know where to get the information with the internet. Now it's not so important that we remembered stuff, but that we know where to find it quick because we have access to it. Now we have AI. What are the new forms? What are the new ways? And at each moment, because these things are not good or bad in of themselves, it's the consciousness that we bring to them. It's the consciousness that we bring to it. And then that gets a little scary because we know that there are a lot of people that have a different level of consciousness. And of course, we're the ones, it's always easier to say those people are at a lower level of consciousness, poor consciousness. But what we want to be thinking about is raising the consciousness, raising our own consciousness and raising the consciousness of the planet. And here's some good news. So where's the work? Where's the work that we do? The work that we do is here. This is why there are places like Rythmia. This is why you want to do your meditation and be working on your on your affirmative prayer and visioning and retreats and sacred study and volunteering. All of these things are ways in which we raise our consciousness. We lift ourselves above confusion. The work is here. And so when we're despairing, when we feel hopeless, not only about artificial intelligence or about technology or about how disassociated we are these days, or about increasing depression rates and alienation and anxiety in young people all around the world, or the tremendously polarized, childlike political environment, and how that childlike political environment is filtering down into our families, into our communities, and into our families. There are people, brothers and sisters, that aren't talking to each other now because of politics, as if there wasn't enough stuff before. Now it's because of what your political association is, because everything is the culture war. Childish. All humans are so funny the way we do stuff. So is it possible to find peace in the world? Well, it's only possible to find peace in the world if we're finding peace within ourselves. It's only possible to find love in the world if we find love within ourselves. Old and true. So no matter how fast the world gets, the opportunity is for us to turn within, to turn away from the world of effects, the world of getting and spending and late and soon. Turn away from the world, a maladjusted world. We do not want to be adjusted to a maladjusted culture. We do not want to be adjusted to a maladjusted culture. So, when I feel like I don't fit in, good. I don't want to fit into that. I don't want to fit in. I'd rather be outside of that matrix. Wouldn't you? Yeah, I would. I totally want to be outside of that matrix. So we do our work within, and we connect within so that we bring that peace that's within us. What if all the shame and all the blame that we're pointing out in the world was really that we are the wolf within. We are our worst keeper. We are our own enemy. We are fighting our own inner civil war. That part of us, those parts of us that are separate, those parts of us that are torn asunder. What if that was the work? What if all we had to do was raise our consciousness to come to peace within ourselves, to come to a healthy sense of self-worth and self-value that doesn't come from the world, that doesn't come from external circumstances or conditions? What if? What if? And if we can do that, we can see it in the world. And here's the thing. I want to give you some more ideas around hopelessness. Because when we're hoping for something better, when we're hoping for a better future, when we're hoping for a better government, when we're hoping for a better relationship, when we're hoping for a better job, when we're hoping for a better car, when we're hoping for a better body, when we're hoping for anything better than we have right now, we're in some fantasy about the future or some nostalgia about the past. And we're definitely not right here, right now. And right here, right now is the only thing that we have any control over. It's the only thing we can do anything about. And the possibilities and the potentialities exist in this now moment, right here, right now. Because life is always asking something of us. Life is always reflecting something back to us, feeding us, giving us some feedback for us to course correct. It's saying, all right, this is what I'm feeding it back to you. You don't like what you're getting back? Time to course correct. You don't like what the feedback is? Time to look within. Because what I'm putting in is what I'm getting out. So giving up hope, being hopeless, is actually brings us to the present moment. And I want to tell you that there's a way that I like to think about this that gives me a sense of security and peace in the present moment, which is to say that we are part of a whole. We are part of a collective consciousness. We're a facet of that consciousness, of the oneness, because there's no outside of the oneness. So whatever we're pointing at our brother or sister, at this person on the opposite side of the aisle, man, we're pointing at ourselves. We are our brother's worst keeper. And that brother is the wolf within, that part of us that we don't like. So as we do our inner work, as we go to retreats, as we do our meditation, as we do our morning movement and our pranayama, when we do our yoga, when we do our physical exercise, when we get out into nature and connect with the fractal patterns that are everywhere in life, when we harmonize ourselves with the rhythms of life, not the rhythms of work, when we harmonize ourselves with the rhythms of life, not the rhythms of the media cycle, when we harmonize ourselves with the rhythms of life, not the rhythms of the internet or the social media cycle, when we harmonize ourselves with what's true and what's real, we find within a peace. We find within a joy. When we accept what's so right now, the natural effect of acceptance, which is the only thing that heals, the natural effect of acceptance is a joy that the world can't take away. The natural effect of acceptance is flow. We get back into the flow of life. We're moving now with the rhythms and the patterns of life. And as we move with life, life carries us like a stream. We're caught by the surprise of our own unfolding. That's a beautiful quote from John O'Donohue, Irish poet. So here's the thing. All we got to do is get into the flow for ourselves so that we can then do it with others. It's the movement from singular consciousness to a collective awareness that I am part of a whole. That's true spiritual growth. And when we begin to up level ourselves, excuse me, when we begin to raise our own vibration, when we begin to lift our mind out of confusion, we affect the whole organism. There's a couple of really interesting studies. There's some studies that were done in Palestine war-torn areas where they took a percentage, and the percentage is like 0.008% of a population, can shift the consciousness of the whole. And they found this by taking meditators and putting them into specific communities where they had 0.008% of the population of that community, and they measured all the statistics of violent crime, rape, murder, war crimes, theft, armed robbery, burglary, all those crime statistics. And while there was that group of meditators meditating in that area, crime went down, rape went down, murder went down, all of the violent crimes decreased. And when they left, those statistics went back up. That's one example. Second example I love to cite is a book called The 100th Monkey. And The 100th Monkey was a study being done by observing the behaviors and patterns of a certain type of monkeys on the uninhabited islands around Japan. And these scientists were taking sweet potatoes and tossing them up on the shore and then observing, communal behaviors of these monkeys. And they found one day, one female monkey started washing her sweet potato in the water before eating it. And then those monkeys in her little family cluster started washing the sweet potato. And then more monkeys in her little community started washing the sweet potato. And when the 100th monkey on one island started washing her sweet potato, all of the monkeys on all the islands started washing their sweet potatoes. So this collective consciousness, this collective awareness, we're all a part of. So we got to be the light. We got to be that opening for light to come into the world, so that we participate, we do our share. It doesn't matter what anybody else is doing. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. What matters is that we're in alignment with the truth of our being. We're in alignment with what we want, what we need, what we desire, and what we deserve. The true and good desires of our heart are the true and good desires of God. And so as we come into alignment with the divine intelligence that is always seeking its own fulfillment, as we come into alignment with the rhythms and patterns of life, as we come into alignment with nature, nature is our greatest teacher. And we can see and prove every spiritual principle, as Brother Ishmael Teta reminds us. We can see and prove every spiritual principle in nature. And so as we come into alignment, these laws begin to work with us, work for us. Some of these laws don't work unless we're in agreement with them. We can't be contradicting them. And if we're out of alignment with them, the law of circulation doesn't work. I mean, it's always working. It's just working against us, not for us, right? We want these laws to be working with us. We want them to, they're always working. They're just not working for us in the way we'd like if I'm going against the laws of nature. So I think that's it. I'm so glad you guys joined us today. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for checking in. I really appreciate it. I'm so grateful today. Really grateful and thankful. So let's take a moment right here and right now and just say a prayer. So we start with gratitude always. I'm so grateful to be alive. I'm grateful for this life that was a free gift. It was a gift given without strings, no strings attached, no conditions on this life. I was given this life. I didn't create myself. I didn't do it myself. I came from something, and there were no strings attached on this gift. And boy, what a gift it is. What a gift this life is when we simply stop and appreciate what is already here. All the striving, all the trying, all the wanting, all the desire to improve. I'm not saying we don't want to improve, but when we just stop for a moment and give thanks for having food to eat. I have something to eat. I'm so grateful. I have a place to lay my head. I'm so grateful. I got a job. I got a way that the good circulated back to me when I give out some good. I'm grateful. I got someone I can call. I'm grateful. I got hands and feet. I can walk and move my arms. I'm grateful. I can see. I can hear. I'm grateful. I'm so grateful for what I have. We start to be grateful for what we have, it multiplies. Jesus didn't go to the Sermon on the Mount and look at the 2 loaves and 5 fish and say, holy shit, we ain't got enough. No, he gave thanks and it multiplied. So we give thanks and watch the goodness that's already in our life multiply. I give thanks. Join me in giving thanks. What are you grateful for right now? What are you grateful for? One thing you're super grateful for right now. Just let it be vibrating up within you, extending out in circles from the center of your heart to every cell of your being. Let that vibration of gratitude go, healing and rejuvenating the body right now. And I recognize that force of life, that thing that can spin out from my heart, that feeling tone of gratitude. That's a facet of God. I recognize God in everything. I recognize this eternal consciousness in everything. I recognize this presence everywhere. I see it everywhere. I see it in the stars. I see it in the sun. I see it in the birds. I see it in the monkeys. And guess what? It's so much more than that. It's spinning out galaxies and solar systems and dimensions right now. Whoo! It's spinning the planet without us having to do anything about it. That's what I call infinite power, infinite intelligence, infinite awareness, infinite love. So I know I'm one with it. I know you're one with it because there's no outside of it. There's no spot that the presence of God is not. I know that truth. So if it's everywhere, if God is everything and I'm one with it, then it's got to be you. It's got to be me. And so in this moment, we just come into alignment with it. We open up and say, I'm willing to let go of anything that would block or hinder or obstruct the full flow of the influx of the divine in, through, and as my life. Anything that's not implanted by the divine is uprooted now. I deny anything unlike the truth. For Sat Nam, truth is our identity. The truth that's eternal is our identity. That's who we really are. And so, from this place of awareness, we just open up, we trust and surrender to the flow of life. We harmonize with the rhythms of life and allow life to carry us. Allow this divine influx to show us the way with ease and grace in a magical way. It's all happening now. I just feel that something wonderful is happening. I just feel that something good is emerging. I just feel that the greatest thing yet to come is happening right now. I just feel that everything that I need right now is right here, and I give thanks for it. And it multiplies. I just feel that all is well, that I can just rest in this. I can rest in thee. And as I surrender and give way to that which is seeking to emerge in, through, and as our lives, my life, your life, more good, more love, more beauty, more abundance, more prosperity, more joy, more harmony, more balance, more order, more excellence, more creativity, more fabulousness, more opulence, more divinity, more intentionality, more of all the good that is seeking to emerges in this ever widening field of awareness, an ever increasing good and an ever deeper connection with the source of all of life. I know that the divine is my source and supply and will provide always. I know that the supply precedes the demand. I know the supply precedes the demand. I know that it's already there, that it goes before me and makes the way before I even know I need it. And so I'm grateful. I'm grateful. I'm so thankful. And in this gratitude, I just rest and let this word be. I let this thought be. I let it vibrate. I let it resonate out into the field of consciousness, knowing that it's amplified and magnified in the field of consciousness and returns to us heavy laden, bearing down with the gifts and the fruits of the spirit of a life so good it's beyond what our finite imagination can handle. Prove me now, said the Lord of hosts, that I shall not open up the heavens and pour a blessing too big to be contained. I'm open and available to receive it. I'm receiving it now. It's already here. So much good is already here. My life is so good. Your life is so good. There's so much richness. There's so much abundance. There's so much opulence. It's already here. So I just say it's done. It's already done. I just rest in that. It's already done. It's done. I feel it's done. I feel it's done. I feel good and I feel it's done. I feel at peace. And so I just let it be. I just let it be. And so it is. Amen. Ashe. Aho. Thank you all so very much. So grateful. Have a beautiful day. Much love.